Good evening, brothers and sisters. Once again, we are back. I'm Pastor JKevz together with my wife.
I'm Jan.
We are going to continue our series about historical theology. The study about different religions and different pagan gods. We are debunking
the Zeitgeist Doctrine.
Because Jesus is not
a copy of pagan gods.
That's why there is
none like Him.
None else, none like, none beside, none that can compare. There's only one God. Last time, previously, or the other day, 2 days ago, Part 1, Intro to
Zeitgeist, the deadly hoax,
the dangerous, poisonous scam. Yesterday, Part 2,
Mithra, Dionysus, and Horus, the rip-off gods,
the copy-paste deities, the plagiarized divinities, rip-off gods. And if you still haven't watched this video, go watch it right now. We talk about 3 gods, Mithra, Dionysus, and Horus. Right now, we will talk about our Lord God, Jesus Christ, no, the one true living God.
Yes.
On Part 3, the historically
accurate Jesus,
past reality, meaning what's real from the past. So we're going to use the words of historians and scholars, the writers of history, and para hindi tayo bias, they are agnostics, they are skeptics, they are non-believers, they are non-Christians, unbelievers, they are evolutionists. Because, to be fair, because if you use Christians, that's unfair. That's bias. So they don't believe in Jesus, they don't believe in the Bible, they are Greeks, they are Romans, but they believe in the existence of Jesus Christ. Okay, let's talk about it right now. For I know the one in whom
I have put my trust.
We know whom we believe. Kilala natin kung sino ating pinaniniwalaan, sino ating pinagkakatiwalaan. Let's know him deeper. Strikingly, there was
never any debate in the ancient world about whether Jesus of Nazareth was a historical figure.
So nakakagulat na walang debate, no argument whatsoever from the past ancient world tungkol kung si Jesus ba na taga Nazareth ay isang historical figure. Did Jesus really existed or not? Did Jesus exist or not? So there's no debate about that. Meaning everybody believes.
Yes.
Everybody believes. In the earliest literature of the
Jewish rabbis,
so the Israelites, the Israelite teachers, Jesus was denounced as the
illegitimate child of Mary and a sorcerer.
So the Judaism don't believe that Jesus Christ is God. They rejected Christ. They crucified him. They don't believe that Jesus is Messiah. They say that Jesus was just an illegitimate child, meaning a child of Mary who became pregnant before marriage with Joseph. So from another guy, from another human being. So illegitimate. And Jesus, they say that Jesus is a magician, a sorcerer, had a spirit of a devil, demon possessed, a magician. So at least they don't believe Jesus is God, but they believe that Jesus existed. That's a start. Kailangan natin dagdagan. We're just going to add. You believe in Jesus? Very good. Now, believe that Jesus is God. Ayun na lang yung kulang. That's what's missing. Among pagans, the satirist Lucian and philosopher Celsus dismissed
Jesus as a scoundrel.
So they say Jesus really existed. Jesus is true. But he's a coward. Jesus was a scoundrel. Jesus was a fraud, they say. They say, but they're wrong, of course. Jesus is not a scoundrel. But we know of no one
in the ancient world who questioned whether Jesus lived.
This is spoken by Simon J. Gator Cole. So, at least they believe that Jesus existed.
Yes.
They believe that Jesus was an historical figure from the past, a reality. So just mixed with wrong, incorrect belief. Sorcerer, illegitimate, scoundrel. Of course not. Jesus is not scoundrel. Jesus is not a sorcerer. Jesus is not an illegitimate child. Jesus is the Son of God.
Yes.
Alright. So this is from Dr. Bart Ehrman. This is an atheist. Dr. Bart Ehrman don't believe in God. From the book Did Jesus Exist? Huffington Post, published year
2012.
This is an article. Can you read?
The alleged parallels between Jesus and the pagan savior gods in the most instances reside in modern imagination.
So the parallels are in modern imagination. Parallels between whom? The parallels between Jesus and these pagan gods are in the modern imagination only. They reside in modern imagination. We do not have
Accounts of others who were born to virgin mothers and who died as an atonement for sin and then were raised from the dead.
Okay, so wala kayo silang nakikita, nabasa. They have never read anything from any book that's written about any God who died for atonement of sin. Mita did not die for atonement of sin. Dionysus, Horus, Hercules, all those other pagan gods, nobody died for atonement of sin.
Yes.
They died for themselves. Or they don't even want to be killed. They were murdered. And they were not raised from the dead, despite
What sensationalists claim and assume in their propagandized versions.
So, these are citing the source reference. Dr. Bart Ehrman again, Professor of Religious Studies, from the book Freedom from Religion Foundation Lecture, published
2014.
This is a YouTube video, timestamp 5150 and 52.6. You can look it up for yourself. There is no
Scholar in any college or university in Western world who teaches classics, ancient story,
okay.
New Testament, early Christianity, any related field who doubts that Jesus existed.
Dr. Bart Ehrman, an atheist, he doesn't believe in God. He do not believe in Jesus. Bart Ehrman said, there is no scholar who doubts that Jesus existed. A scholar in any school, in any college, in any university, in any class, in the Western world, America, who teaches about classics, about ancient history, about New Testament, about early Christianity, all of these subjects, math, English, science, any related field about history, no scholar whatsoever who doubts that Jesus existed. Meaning, all scholars that Dr. Bart Ehrman knows believes that Jesus existed.
Yes.
Nobody doubts. Graham Clark quoted in Facts and Friction of Easter. This is the title of the book. The author, Brisbane Times, 2008 article. Frankly,
I know of no ancient historian or biblical historian who would have a twinge of doubt about the existence of Jesus Christ.
so Graham Clark said he doesn't know any ancient, old historian, unbeliever historian, non-Christian historian, Greek, Roman, atheist historian, or biblical historian, so believer or not, Christian or not, right? Evolutionist or creationist, any historian, all historians have a twinge of a doubt, even kahit napakaliit na pagdududa, gabuhok na pagdududa, na si Jesus ay umiral ba o hindi. Meaning, every historian from the ancient world, biblical or non-biblical, they all believe that Jesus Christ existed.
Yes.
They believe in the existence of Jesus Christ. So we are not using the Bible. We are not reading text from the scriptures. We are using the written words in history by the historians and scholars, especially the non-Christians. This is from Tacitus Annals, book number 15. This is a Roman writer, Roman historian from a Roman book. Romans are not Christians. Romans don't believe in the Bible. Rome doesn't believe in our God. They believe that emperors are God. Nero is God. All of those emperors are God. Consequently,
to get rid of the report, Nero fastened the guilt and inflicted the most exquisite tortures on a class hated for their abominations, called Christians by the populace.
so by the madlang people, by the mass population, they torture the Christians by by crucifixion. And the one who implemented this torture is Emperor Nero, right? Tacitus wrote this.
Yes.
Christus,
from whom the name had its origin, suffered the extreme penalty during the reign of Tiberius at the hands of one of our procurators, Pontius Pilatus.
so Christus is Christ, and from whom the name Christians had its origin, right? So Christus and then Pontius Pilatus, Christus Pilatus, Christ and Pilate, Pontius Pilate, Poncio Pilato. So this is recorded in the Bible that in the reign of King Tiberius, a Roman governor whose name was Pontius Pilate implemented the crucifixion of Jesus Christ.
Yes.
So not even the four gospel, Matthew, Mark, Luke, John. This is from a Roman historian, Tacitus. Of course, Rome would record the crucifixion of Jesus in their own history.
Yes.
Right. Gerd Luderman from the book The Resurrection of Christ, A Historical Inquiry, published
2004,
Page.
50.
Ano sabi ni George Luderman?
Jesus' death as a consequence of crucifixion is indisputable.
The death of Jesus by dying on the cross cannot be argued, cannot be debated, cannot be debunked. You cannot dispute it, right?
Yes.
You cannot destroy it. It is indisputable. There are many historical sources for the crucifixion of Jesus Christ. 15 all in all. So pre-mark passion narrative,
Q.
John,
Apostles' epistles,
Paul's epistles, the epistles of Apostle Paul, and then
Hebrews,
and
1 Peter
2,
2:24,
Clement of Rome, Ignatius, Justin,
Martyr,
Josephus Flavius, Cornelius Tacitus,
Lucian,
Mesobar Serapion,
Talus,
and Talmud. So all of this history, not only the Bible, not only the epistles, not only the four gospels, even these other books, other history books from non-Christian writers, non-Christian, non-biblical historians, they recorded the crucifixion of Jesus Christ. So these pagan myths about Mitra in the ridiculous movie Religulous and the Zeitgeist movie, they said that Jesus was copied from pagan gods. All of these pagan myths, it had no relevance.
yes,
If they say, okay, let's say Jesus was copied from Mitra, Jesus was copied from Horus, Jesus was copied from Krishna, Jesus was copied from, who's the other god? Dionysus. Let's say that Jesus was copied. It has no relevance.
Yes.
Because the history of Jesus being crucified was written all over the world. Every country, every nation, every culture, every language, every religion. It was recorded.
yes,
And of course, Jesus is not copied. We talk about those gods in part 2. So watch part 2. So they did not die. They were not crucified. They did not rose from the dead. They had no virgin parents. Their parents had sex, had an affair, sexual intercourse. Mitra came from a rock. Right? So Jesus was not copied from those false gods. So history is his story. The story of Jesus, the story of God. And history is set on
before Christ,
BC and
Anno
AD,
Domini,
which means,
year of the Lord.
so the Lord's year, in the year of the dragon, the year of the horse, all those horoscope, Chinese zodiac, the year of the Lord. So the history said everything that happened before Christ and everything that happened after Christ.
Yes.
So, for example, Alexander the Great, 356 BC. Meaning, Alexander the Great existed before 356 years before Christ.
Yes.
So everything before Christ, the spa, Socrates, Plato, Aristotle, SPA, spa, all of those, Andres Bonifacio, Jose Rizal, everything BC before Christ, and then everything that came after Christ, right?
Yes.
All of those Renaissance, Leonardo da Vinci, Michelangelo, so the medieval ages, dark ages, BC and AD. So if they don't believe in Christ, why are they using BC? Everybody's using BC.
Yes.
Even the atheists, skeptics, agnostics, evolutionists, non-Christians, non-believers, they should use, if Jesus is just a fictional character, they should use BZ before Zeus, BM before Mitra, BD before Dionysus, BH before Horus, BO before Odin, BR before Ra,
Yes.
BB before Buddha, BA before Allah, even cartoon characters, anime, superheroes before Superman, before Goku, before all of those fictional characters, right? But they use BC, meaning Christ really existed
Yes.
from history.
Center of history.
Center, when Jesus Christ was born, it was the fullness of time, meaning the center of history from Genesis creation to the end of the universe, before the new heaven and new earth. So 6,000 years from Adam to us, and then plus 1,000 years in the millennial reign of Christ, the millennium kingdom age, we will reign with Christ how many years?
1,000.
At 1,000 years. So 6,000 plus 1,000, that's 7,000, right? So in the middle of those 7,000 years, from Adam to the new earth, 7,000, the middle of is the fullness of time, the birth of Christ.
Yes.
This is very, very true historically. The accuracy, it's accurate. The precision, it's very precise. So 1 Corinthians 1:5,
That in everything you are enriched by Him in all utterance and in all knowledge.
we are enriched in Him, not by just something or half of everything. In everything, all utterance, all
Yes.
knowledge, science to know, even as the testimony of Christ was.
Confirmed in you.
So Jesus heals us, forgives us, blesses us, provides for us. We are the living proof. We are the living testimony. We are the
Yes.
living epistles that Christ really existed. Ed Parrish Sanders from the book The Historical Figure of Jesus, published on year
1993.
that Jesus' followers
And later Paul had resurrection experiences is, in my judgment, a fact.
okay, what the
What the reality was that gave rise to the experiences I do not know.
Ed Perry Sanders is an atheist. He does not believe in God. He does not believe in the Bible. But he said, as a scholar, as an historian, Jesus, the followers of Jesus, and later Paul, had resurrection experiences. Is in his belief, in his judgment, in his own opinion, that's a fact. Meaning the apostles really did experience the resurrection of Christ. It's a fact. But his problem as an atheist, the reality that gave rise to those experiences, to that resurrection, I do not know. He don't know. Hindi niya alam kung paano nabuhay si Jesus. He doesn't know how Jesus was resurrected. He doesn't know it. He admitted it. Right? He did not deny it. But he said, it's true. It's real. It's a fact. They really did the abundance of evidence, the overwhelming proof. Okay, George Luderman again from the book
What Really Happened,
published
1996,
page
80.
He said, it may
be taken as historically certain that Peter and the disciples had experiences after Jesus' death in which Jesus appeared to them as the risen Christ.
It is historically certain. It's not a spiritual or non-literal or a poetry or a parable or a fable. No, it is historically certain. Certain, tiyak. Right. This next. This is a interview. This is David Wood. He was a former atheist turned Christian and he is debunking Islam. You should watch his videos on YouTube. Mike Liconia, this one. Islam versus Historical Jesus. YouTube, year 2014. So these are the timestamp. So he said, Mike Liconia said,
all historian scholars, whether Jews, Romans, atheists, or agnostics, believe in the existence of Jesus as an historical fact.
So everybody believes that Jesus existed. Romans, Jews, atheists, scholars, everyone believes that Jesus existed.
Yes.
Bart Ehrman again, book,
Did Jesus Exist?
year,
2012.
page,
230.
read it.
Anyone who thinks that Jesus was modeled on such deities needs to cite some evidence.
So anyone who thinks that Jesus was modeled, copied, plagiarized from Mitra, Dionysus, Horus, the religious movie, Bill Mayer, we are talking to you, you need to cite some evidence.
Yes.
Any evidence at all. Present one. Present a counter-argument or defense rebuttal. Prove your claim. Right? Back up your statement. That Jews
in Palestine at the alleged time of Jesus' life were influenced by anyone who held such views.
So, you prove that the life of Jesus was influenced by anyone who held the views of Zeitgeist. Prove it. Present your presentation. So, Trigen Mettinger, from the book, The Riddle of
Resurrection,
Dying and Rising
Gods
in the Ancient
Near East.
Near East. So, published,
2001,
page
221.
please read it.
There is, as far as I am aware, no prima facie evidence that the death and resurrection of Jesus is a mythological construct.
So, prima facie evidence, meaning the front, the prime, the first, the biggest, right? That the death and resurrection of Jesus is a mythological construct, is a legend, is a myth, is a fantasy, is a fiction. He is not aware. There is no prime evidence, right?
Yes.
Drawing on myths
And rites of the dying and rising gods of the surrounding world.
So Trigen Mettinger said he is not aware. There is no prime evidence that the death and resurrection of Jesus Christ was from myths. While
Studied with the prophet against the background of Jewish resurrection belief,
Okay.
the faith in the death and resurrection of Jesus retains its unique character in the history of religions.
so he studied with a prophet for money against the Jewish resurrection belief. He is not Christian. He studied this against the Bible to prove the Bible wrong because he is an atheist. He does not believe in God. So while studying, instead of proving the Bible wrong, he proved the Bible correct. So he was converted. He became a Christian. He became a believer
Yes.
because he is following his evidence, right? So the story of Jesus Christ, it retains its peculiar, different, unique character in the history of many religions and many other gods. So, this is where we end part 3. We have 20 minutes now. The historically
accurate Jesus
past
reality.
So, every historian, every scholar, right?
Yes.
Believer or not, Christian or not, even atheists, skeptics, agnostics, evolutionists, Romans, Greeks, everybody believes that Jesus Christ existed. That's why it's BC before Christ. AD, Anno Domini, meaning
Year of the
Year
Lord.
of the Lord. Next topic for the next video next time will be uploaded tomorrow. Part 4. The final part. Apostolic
Anti-pagan pantheons.
Pantheons mean the group of gods, the family of gods, the team of gods. Originality of
Christianity.
We have Greek pantheon of Olympus. We have the Norse pantheon of Asgard. We have the Egyptian pantheon of the Nile. But there is no Christian pantheon of the Bible. There is no pantheon of gods in heaven. There's only one God.
Yes.
And His name is
Jesus.
Jesus Christ. So once again, I'm Pastor JKevz with my wife.
I'm J.N.
So this is debunking
The Zeitgeist Doctrine.
because Jesus is not.
A copy of pagan gods.
That's why there is
none like Him.
none else, none like, none beside, none that can compare. Thank you and God bless.